Let's get back to the power situation. I'm joined now by Bruce Mountain, who heads up the Victoria Energy Policy Centre. He joins me from Perth. Good to talk to you, Bruce. I talked at the top of the program about what a crisis this was for Victoria yesterday, and it continues in some places today. How can tripping out one major transmission line cause so much load shedding and so many blackouts right across the state?
Yes, hi Chris. So this transmission line, it was actually two separate lines that run as two separate set of towers, each carrying a circuit. It was transporting a fair bit of electricity from central and western Victoria into Melbourne, and as a consequence, when it dropped, there was a voltage effect through the transmission network which dropped off the Loy Yang A power station. The context to this, as with South Australia, is our electrical systems are getting electricity from a wider range of sources in different areas to where they used to. And the transmission system, as a consequence, is very exposed to these weather events. So the same event 15 years ago would have dropped load to Ballarat or Bendigo or a regional town. This event drops off a lot of production and, as a consequence, has a major impact on the power system.
And obviously the generation supply wasn't able to kick in quickly enough because the NEM price, the market price max, went to the max of over $16,000. It was there for a couple of hours, presumably waiting for more power to come in from other states and for gas-fired generation to kick in. Why was there so much wind energy that was not able to be used at this time?
Yeah, actually, when you analyse the minute-by-minute turnout, as a consequence of this generation drop, a major amount of load on the transmission system was dropped. And as it happened, separately to the failure of these major transmission lines, was also the loss of a whole lot of distributed supply on the distribution networks through major wind events and bushfire and trees falling on power lines. So it turned out that there was a great amount of load being shed at the same time anyway. And so there were moments while gas generators were ramping up where there was actually a surplus in Victoria in spite of this crisis and in spite of lots of Victorian load being dropped. So Victoria at times was actually a net exporter for brief time periods. Solar, at least rooftop solar, was the one steady source of supply. Wind generation moved down strongly, I think, as a consequence of the loss of those two transmission lines, and possibly also for the same reason that the Loy Yang A power station dropped off, which was a rapid change in the voltage on the network. So prices did indeed go up, but ironically, for moments in the day, there was a small surplus. We then saw gas and hydro ramping up very quickly to meet the shortfalls.
Yeah, and cash in on those high prices, no doubt. A double-barreled question to finish up then, because we're going to run out of time, but do we need more gas peaking powers to cut in quickly when there's problem with the electricity supply? And secondly, this plan to have more renewables spread further away out in regional areas is creating all sorts of angst in many regional areas, especially Western Victoria. I know you say that that's the wrong option because you have so much transmission, whereas it would be better to generate this renewable energy, be it wind or solar, closer to where all the power's used, i.e. closer to Melbourne.
Yes, I think that's quite right. So, Chris, can I answer the second, the second area first? The policy that the Victorian government has adopted, which is pretty pursuant to the energy market operator's vision, is 500 kV transmission backbone from Hobart to Townsville. That was yesterday's vision. It means getting a whole lot of our electricity production out in the country, which is having a considerable impact on landowners through the wind and solar farms, but also through the transmission lines. We're learning from this event what we knew already, but which the Vic government and EMO at least has not yet actually recognised, that these weather events have a very major impact, and we can mitigate the effect of it by bringing our production much closer to our load as it always used to be with a fossil fuel dominated system, because our coal and gas complexes were quite close to our loads, and so we could produce electricity close to the loads. So as we shift into cleaner sources, we need to make the most of the enormous unused roof space on our warehouses and buildings. It'll be an income stream for the owners of those, and it will greatly decrease the weather risks. On your first point, yes, gas generation as a backup is essential. I see no prospect of that decreasing, nor reason for it to decrease for the foreseeable future.
Bruce, thanks so much for joining us and giving us all that insight. We'll catch up with you again sometime soon about Snowy Hydro 2.0. Bruce Mountain there from the Victoria Energy Policy Centre.